All right, let's update on what's happening in the cryptocurrency world, cryptocurrency revolution in action. Bitcoin continues to head higher. And let me show you this video here. I think this is important because let me set it up a little bit with the drama that happened last week. So here, this was the Bitcoin Cash battle here. Bitcoin was falling, recovered, and has recovered and then some. And really what happened was, the Bitcoin, whatever you want to call them, people who love big block sizes, they left Bitcoin and sold to Wall Street. And guess who's bigger? Wall Street. Check this out. This Mike Novogratz, billionaire, he seems to be, so if Bitcoin is the front door for the cryptocurrency party, this guy's the door guy. And listen to this little thing. So first of all, this is a video. Crypto has this whole video on him. Very good, a great video. I'm just going to take a little listen here.
And so, with 100% certainty, I would say that the herd is coming.
Sorry for the pause. Hello. The herd being Wall Street is taught. He is a hedge fund guy working with Wall Street.
And so, what does that mean for the community? It means a couple things. It first of all means that Bitcoin is going to outperform everything else. And I know this is a Ethereum company, and let me tell you, I have more ethers than Bitcoin, and because I love this space. But Bitcoin represents the kind of benchmark or bellwether that all this collective energy is showing up in. Because these are new buyers, and it's the easiest thing for them to buy. And so I would tell you that for the next 6 months, if you were purely short term, Bitcoin's a pretty easy bet. It's going higher and much higher. There's going to be volatility. There's a fork coming in mid-November that, maybe gives people a chance to buy in.
So anyways, he's the one out there convincing and helping the Wall Street crowd come into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the gateway drug. They're all starting with Bitcoin. It's going up. It's going to keep going up. And, so it's hard to get in here when the chart, every day, I mean, today's a slow day. It's only up 5%. Maybe I should buy more. I don't know. I don't usually play in this kind of kookiness, short term, 6 months, it's going up, it's going much higher. I don't know. I wish I had more. The reality is, as much of a genius as I like to think I am, which I don't really think I'm a genius, but as smart as I might be, had I done nothing and only held all of my Bitcoin, I would have more money today. And I'm sure that's probably true, except for people who've only started in the last 6 months to a year. It's true for most people. Because Bitcoin, it just keeps killing it. So, that's that story. And then Bitcoin Cash, I mean, what a roller coaster here. And no surprise, there's not going to be a Bitcoin takeover by Bitcoin Cash. Here was the rally. Now, the question is, the people who left Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, did they all get in down here? If so, fine, they're still doing okay. They doubled their money. But if Roger Ver sold most of his, bought most of his up at 2,000, this chart doesn't even show. I mean, the thing went up to like 2,500. Then it's not good. But I think in the long run, and already they're probably like, oh shit, I guess we should have held more Bitcoin because it's staying up, and Bitcoin Cash is going nowhere. It's not going to be used for payments. This thing is, I find it to be quite silly, but it might hang out. Who knows? My ability to predict the price on Bitcoin Cash has not been great. I watch it. It's fun. Who knows? But it's not going to replace Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is really just keeps roaring. So Litecoin, I've said before, nice coin, works good, not horrible. I don't buy it. I just am sort of bored by it. Ethereum has been steady, and I've talked to people reading, and the vibe I'm getting on Ethereum is, their thing. When I think about, well, Ethereum, they're scaling. Within 2 years, it's going to be like so much faster. They're going to have scaled so much. When I say that to certain people, to a lot of people, they're like 2 years. Like people don't believe the scaling is going to happen. I've talked to people. They proof of stake. Yeah, they won't believe it till they see it. They don't believe the scaling is going to happen. Or it's like 2 years. It's like, well, call me in a year and a half. Like that's way too long for me. To me, if something is pretty sure in 2 years, I'm happy to hold. I love buy and hold. So I like Ethereum. I think a lot of other people may not totally believe the story of scaling that will happen. I think that people are also getting very excited about all the other Ethereum wannabes. IOTA on a roll. We'll talk about that in a minute. Why is that going up? The EOS, supposedly an Ethereum killer. They've been rallying. So maybe that's sucking up some of the Ethereum excitement. I'm not worried about my Ethereum. It's kind of the old boring one right now. I don't mind old boring. Granted, I wish I was in the exciting Bitcoin Cash, which is old and exciting. So anyways, Ethereum to me, I've always said, not always, for the last several months, 270 to 330 is 300, and it bounces between there. And we've been just ticking over the 330 here. Now, I don't know if this means we're about to go higher. I wouldn't be surprised if it's back to 290 or 300 in a few days. Who knows? But that's the Ethereum story. Until we have more evidence on the scaling and speed improvements, or we just gotta wait a while. It's just not moving right now. Ripple had an exciting day, but Ripple, listen. Ripple and Stellar, they're competing against Swift. They can't lose that game, right? But Ripple against Stellar, forget about it. They can't. I don't think they can compete. And I'll explain why here. So, first of all, let's talk about what happened yesterday with Ripple. It was plugging along, and then they announced they're working with Amex. Shot way up, and it's come a lot of the way back. We're at 220, 23, 22 cents, whatever. So here's the thing. Before you get too excited about the Amex deal, it's customers in America with Amex who want to send money to the UK to people who are using Bank Santander can do it through Amex. It's rather narrow, but that's cool. It's a start, and they're growing. But see, the difference is because Ripple, now the Ripple network is decentralized. But Ripple itself sort of has a centralized business model. Deals with the banks for banks to use their system, then their technology. I mean, I'm not 100% sure exactly the terms and everything, but they have to sign up through Ripple, and Ripple charges them. It's like a service. And so that's great, and it's a useful service, and they got Amex on board. That's fabulous. But compare that to Stellar, where any bank can just jump on the network for free without talking to Stellar, and Stellar now has IBM out there. Who IBM runs most of the computers for most of the banks, anyways. Just trying to get all of these banks onto the Stellar network, and they don't have to work with Stellar. And that's why, because Stellar is an open, free network, and the business model itself, they're just a nonprofit foundation. They're able to grow faster. That's why decentralized systems grow faster than centralized, because anybody can just jump on and join the party. Whereas in Ripple, you have to sort of, I think these deals, you have to go directly through Ripple. You know what? I'm not 100% sure how it all works, but I don't see the Ripple. Ripple is dealing individually with banks, whereas Stellar has gotten IBM to just go out, like they're trying to throw on like thousands of banks and currencies just all at once, and that's why Stellar is going to grow faster. IOTA. So why is IOTA going up? First of all, I looked for news. There's no news on IOTA. The only news on IOTA was bad. There's Satoshi Pay. So Satoshi Pay is a this is a group, it seems like pretty smart people started up a company. They're going to do nano payments for content. They're going to do it with Bitcoin. Couldn't get it to work with Bitcoin. Bitcoin cannot be used for payments, will never be used for payments. I shouldn't say never, but nowhere near that. So they started looking for another option, and they were looking into IOTA. And they decided to go with Stellar. Let's see. Satoshi Pay chose Stellar based on its extremely low fees. Currently 0.0000, what is that? 4 zeros and a 3 is the cents per operation. I think you can call that free. And 5-second confirmation. Isn't that IOTA's story? Fast and free, but it isn't fast and free. But I think more importantly, and I bet the reason IOTA lost, because they went to IOTA first, is IOTA is really hard to work with, I believe. And I'm saying this sort of just, I haven't tried to implement it, but I did talk to Philip Potter from Bitfinex. He likes IOTA, but he's like, boy, that API was useless, really hard to implement. I think that's why it's not on exchanges. I can just see the nature, that whole IOTA thing, it's very tangled and confusing. And and Satoshi Pay talked a lot about how the Stellar Loom is just so easy. It's got different parts, open source, easy, and they're going to be up and running in like 2 months on a whole new platform. So, to me, the only news on IOTA was bad, but this thing is shooting up. Why has it gone up so much? Here's one theory, and this is just pulling this out of my ass. So Bitcoin, a lot of old-time Bitcoin holders bailed last week, mostly for Bitcoin Cash, but they have spread their money around. And could that explain why IOTA and Ethereum Classic are also going up? Could this be, and I don't want to be too rude, but the dumb money, right? The people who left Bitcoin as it continues to shoot up in order to run into a bunch of crap that they think they can manipulate, make go up. The forks, the Bitcoin Cash, the Ethereum, and the IOTA, which is, I think, a bit of a fantasy. Maybe that money is slushing around into some of these things. And IOTA is probably easy to move. It's only on 2 exchanges. It doesn't have very high volume. I don't know. I don't know why it's going up. I'm not a long-term believer in it. If you own it, God bless. You're doing well in the last couple weeks. EOS. So the EOS, I talked to someone. I had my cryptocurrency mixer. I know someone from the channel showed up. Thanks for coming. What's his name? Well, anyways, hi. So EOS, I talked to somebody who, he's friends with Brock Pierce, kind of. He's a developer. He's looked at GitHub. So in addition to them having a ridiculous amount of money, apparently some sort of beta launch is going to be happening early December. And so I think maybe that may be driving this higher. Like, okay, they're actually launching something, and we'll be able to see what it is. Who knows? It might be buy the rumor, sell the news, or if what they launch doesn't look great. But I got a feeling it's going to look okay, because I think Dave Larimer, the developer on this thing, his record has been he did BitShares and he did Steemit. Both were sort of proof of concept. Launched, worked, but not fully developed, not working 100%, not perfect. Like Steemit, okay, it's cool, but it's a social network and you can't even upload a photo of yourself. It's not done. It's like he didn't finish either of those projects and he jumped to new ones. And so is this going to launch and be kind of nice and then he bails, or is he not able to complete? I mean, to me, this is very much a wait and see. I'm not going to play this game. Plus, you don't know what you're getting for these tokens on the thing that hasn't launched. But boy, it's had a move, and I made a video talking about, it does look cheap down here below 50 cents. I didn't buy any, but it's up. What's that? Over 300% in a month. Not bad. So yeah, and I think you know, in EOS, people do the one problem with EOS. It's not. We'll see what happens when it launches, but it sort of sounds like what I'm hearing is that it's not really decentralized because it's going to be like 10 giant nodes or something, and that's why it's able to be fast and inexpensive because it only has 10 nodes or something like that, and so it's not truly decentralized. Like it's harder to have a fast, low-cost system that's truly decentralized. Um, and EO doesn't have that, and so that's why it's fast. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm watching it; it's exciting. Ethereum Classic, I've talked about before. I don't get. I mean, to me, it's silly. Uh, you probably even to even similar to Bitcoin Cash. Like, why would you buy the fork that is much smaller with the weaker team? I don't get it. Zcash technology been absorbed into Ethereum in the long run. If you like Zcash, you buy Ethereum. Digital cash. So I think that had a huge jump, and I am a fan of digital cash. I was certainly a fan of the story at this. I mean, I thought it was expensive before this move. I mean, now I think this thing is kind of crazy. So I like the Dash story in the long run. I like their business model with the funding, but you know, their whole story right now, they don't have a lot of transactions, and to me, the story is in June they're supposed to launch their Evolution platform. I believe what that is a wallet on your phone that's like easy to use, and systems for merchants, so they're able to accept, sign up to accept digital cash easily. You know, they're trying to sign up users and merchants before then, but this Evolution launch in June is supposed to make it really easy, and that's sort of their thing. So until June, it's hard to buy, and for 6,000 transactions a day, you're paying a lot of money for this currency. 3 billion and 6,000 transactions a day is very small, so there's a lot of success built into this price. Now, granted, it shot up because, again, it's possible that some of that dumb money who left Bitcoin ran into Dash, and that drove the price up. I don't know. I mean, I want to sell at this price. I'd like to think I'm buy and hold on Dash, but boy, looks expensive here. And also, who knows? In May, we may be able to get in at half the price before the Evolution launch. Or maybe April to start talking about it in May. Who knows? Or maybe it'll be delayed. That's a wait and see. I wouldn't buy any more here. Monero, small, boring to me. I don't really follow it. Bitcoin Gold, my Neo just keeps plugging along just under 30 all the time. OMG, Omise Go. There is a conference in Thailand. It's like December 4th. 3 people from Omisego are speaking there. My friend slash CTO, he is going to go to the event. And I told him, Omisego looks awesome, but they issued their roadmap. I can't make heads or tails of it. I can't understand it. He's a developer. I said, read this roadmap, try to understand it, go to this event, talk to Omisego, try to figure out what the hell is going on over there, and let me know. If he succeeds with that, I will let you know to try to figure out what is going on with OMG. They seem great, seem smart. I'm holding some. I'm not expecting this thing to go anything higher because they're not good at communicating with humans. They are, very techy, and they may be brilliant, but I don't think this thing rallied on the story that humans could understand, which was we're going to do processing for McDonald's, and we all went crazy. And I'm sure they will someday, but you can't see anything now. So I'm waiting for more info, and may get some in a few weeks. Metaverse I don't follow. Stellar Lumens, as you know, if you follow me, one of my favorite. It really is my favorite because, with this market cap under $1 billion, and we looked at, I didn't look at what IOTA. There's coins with much higher market cap, 2, 3, 4 times higher market cap, that are slower, more expensive, and don't have deals with major Fortune 500 companies, let alone not just the Fortune 500. IBM. I'm reading a book now. It's called Crypto. It's a history of cryptography. Very interesting. And guess who's in the middle of it? Guess who's, the sort of the creators of cryptography? IBM, and NSA, but it was sort of a fight between them, and very interesting. I haven't finished the book yet, but IBM, you can't get a better partner when it comes to implementing cryptocurrency in banks, and Stellar has that deal. Now, as I said, so where are we here? When was our, so as I said here, I think we have a lot of resistance around 4 cents. And if it goes back to 3 cents, I want to buy a lot more. If it keeps plugging along, I mean, I think under 5 cents, this thing is cheap, and I just want to keep accumulating. But I don't like buying. It just shot up, so I'm hanging out here. Maybe it's going to come back down. This thing is only on 2 exchanges, and the story's starting to get out there, but it's still, I think, is very much under the radar. And what did I want to say about Stellar? I don't know. They had another announcement. They had the Satoshi Pay thing. They now have ATMs. They announced in Singapore. There's other, there's all these rumors. They're in, another thing too. I discovered a couple things. So this lumens distribution, and if I have this correct, so there's 17 billion lumens. I think they gave 5 to IBM for their deal, and I think they gave 1 to Satoshi Pay. That Satoshi Pay, they're going to give 500 lumens. If you sign up for a Satoshi Pay wallet, you get 500 free lumens. And, at 4 cents, that's $20. It's not a ton of money, but for free, I think a lot of people will get that wallet for free, $20. Not to mention if the price goes higher, it's worth even more. That's a very generous. They must, Satoshi Pay looks like a group of smart people, but Jed McCaleb at Stellar must really have confidence in them. That's a very generous gift of lumens. That they gave them 1 billion out of the 100 available. So when that comes out, you might want to download it to check it out. First of all, to see if it's good and what you can do, because it may tell us more about Stellar, and also it's a free $20. And what other news? There was an ATM. Did I just say that? And then there's a meetup coming in San Francisco. They seem to have announcements at the meetups, so maybe there'll be something else. And there's news, and this is sort of the speculation, that Singapore government itself is looking to use some sort of blockchain payment system, and Stellar is there, and maybe it ends up being Stellar. I don't know. And there was one other piece of news. Kik, that there's a big company that does chat. Is it KIK? Well, I'm going to pause. All right, so Kik is a large chat messaging company in Canada. They did their ICO on Ethereum, but they are wrote that they are Stellar is indeed one of the directions they're investigating. They're thinking of leaving Ethereum for Stellar. Now, and that's just for their ICO. I'm not sure why they're leaving. I can understand if you're building on the network. I'm not sure what they're trying to do and why they're going to Stellar, but I do think Stellar, is great. And if you're not, but okay, so here's the thing. As far as this being negative on Ethereum, I think the future for Ethereum, the story is it's not an ICO platform. ICO platforms have become dime a dozen. Everybody's doing it, not just Stellar and Ethereum, but everybody else. And it's not hard, in this space. I mean, a lot of people are doing it. The Ethereum story is all about, the world's computer, Turing complete, being able to build real applications that are more advanced than ICOs. So if Ethereum is successful, it's going to be for that, not for the ICO. They were just the first with the ICOs. but there's probably, and I'm sure Stellar is a better option for ICOs at this point. Ethereum is not an ICO company. But again, to me, this is again news that Stellar is starting to get noticed. A large, big company, existing business is mentioning Stellar. So I think that's more good news for Stellar. It doesn't worry about me about Ethereum. I get worried about Ethereum if consensus starts saying, I don't know, we're not able to build these applications, or if who else is building? Is it storage? Some of these computer renting space, Golem, some of these projects start saying, it's not going to work. Then I would start thinking twice about Ethereum. But as far as people choosing somewhere else to do an ICO, who cares? I mean, that's not the future. ICOs are too easy. And I think that might be it for today. So, and just a couple updates on things. It's the holidays. My parents are coming for a week. I'm sort of laying low. I may not do videos as frequently as in the past, but I'll keep you posted when I get motivated. But it might be a little slow for the next month as far as me making videos. Also, I turned on advertising on the channel because I thought, you know what? I bet Google sort of shows my videos to more people if I'm doing the advertising. That's why I did it. And also, something I should say at the beginning of all my videos is not only to subscribe, but there's a little bell thing. If you click that, that alerts you if I do a live show. Eventually, I want to start doing live shows. And you got to click that bell so you'll be alerted when I do a live show. All right? Thanks for watching.